Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, let's dream together a little bit. I went to try on a couple of grand complication Pateks, the current and also the outgoing references, and beyond seeing for myself if it was all that, by this I mean all over 100 grand and then some more on top of it. It also puts everything else in perspective. We see these watches in magazines and videos, but you gotta handle them to decide if it's for you or not. And given the price, it's fair to be critical about every detail. To me, what I love with high-end watchmaking is the crisp, refined details, the strong contrasts and different textures, also the heft of the watches. It can't translate in pictures that well. You feel the quality immediately when you handle it, and that's also the case when looking at the back of the watch, of course. You don't need to be a specialist to tell it's on a very different level of manufacture than a machined timepiece. It's totally fine to feel no affinity to it and enjoy more affordable watches, but you ought to take a look in person and let your heart speak. In the case of the first series, white gold 5270G, which is the current chronograph Perpetual calendar from Patek, I find it's got such understated presence. It makes you reflect on the trend of wanting the same very ostentatious sports watch from Geneva. The format is modern at 40 millimeters, but very tidy at about 12 millimeters of height. And this dial in particular, without the later tachymeter scale, is a lot cleaner than the later iterations, especially avoiding interruption of the minute track by the circular date indication. Now, if you want a loomed diver, that's not it. If you want the Perpetual calendar with crisp chronograph manufacture caliber of reference, this is it. Once Patek abandoned the Lemania base, they went all in on their in-house movement, registering several patents, reworking the wheels to avoid chronograph actuation jitters, making the chronograph minute snap right at the turn of the minute, among several other crucial improvements. And the finishing, well, it's Patek. Many will say that for less you can get the longer equivalent. And it's true, but again, it's up to you to try both and decide for yourself which appeals to you the most. I'd say this, when you have the Patek, there's no alternative in your mind, and it's sized to fit the normal human wrist. Now, this watch, as modern as it is, it's meant to run perpetually. Well, that is if you wind it every couple of days, which is the irony of a manual wound Perpetual. But if you go past that minor inconvenience, this all means you'll need servicing quite fairly regularly that piece, so factor that in. It will cost you, but no more than what you lose every time you decide to sell a Grand Seiko or a Zenith. The only difference is that throughout all those years, you'll be wearing a Patek Grand Complication. So guys, let me know. Do these appeal to you? Would you? Could you stretch your budget for it? Do you have 100 grand lying around in a dormant fund, equity fund maybe? Fixed income fund. Wouldn't this be more fun to you? Let me know in the comments. Bye bye.